Introduction. Have you felt it lately? That quiet sense that something inside you is changing, even if you can't fully explain what it is. It's as if the world around you looks the same, but you don't feel the same anymore. Maybe you've been waking up more tired than usual, even after a full night's sleep. Maybe old choices, relationships, or goals that once made sense now feel strangely empty. Or maybe there's a subtle restlessness living in your chest, a gentle but persistent inner pull you can't ignore. If you found your way to this video, it's not by accident. As we move closer to 2026, millions of people around the world are experiencing a deep awakening of consciousness. This shift doesn't begin in the outside world. It begins within the soul. And while this awakening can feel confusing, uncomfortable, or even lonely, it is also a powerful invitation to live with greater truth, purpose, and alignment. In this video, you'll discover 9 clear signs that your soul is being called to awaken before 2026. Signs that may already be unfolding in your life right now. More importantly, you'll learn what to do when these signs appear, so you don't get lost in fear, doubt, or resistance. This is not a video about fear-based predictions or empty spirituality. It's about awareness, understanding, and inner preparation. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and allow yourself to listen to what your soul may have been trying to say for a long time. Let's begin with the first sign. The one almost everyone feels but few truly understand. Fire. Part 1. The first sign. A restlessness you can't ignore. One of the earliest and most common signs that your soul is awakening is a feeling of restlessness that seems to come from nowhere. Not the kind of restlessness that comes from boredom or stress, but a deeper, quieter discomfort that lingers even when your life appears fine on the surface. You may notice that things which once brought you comfort or excitement no longer satisfy you the same way. Conversations feel repetitive. Daily routines feel heavy. Achievements that once felt meaningful now feel strangely hollow. And yet you can't clearly explain what's wrong. This restlessness is not a problem. It is a signal. It is your soul realizing that it has outgrown the version of life you've been living. Many people try to silence this feeling. They distract themselves with more work, more entertainment, more noise. They tell themselves to be grateful, to stop overthinking, to push through. But the more they ignore it, the louder it becomes. Because this restlessness isn't asking you to escape your life. It's asking you to reconnect with your truth. At this stage of awakening, your inner world is beginning to shift faster than your outer reality. Your soul is moving ahead, while your habits, environment, and identity are still anchored in the past. This creates tension. You may feel like you're standing at a crossroads, even if no clear choices are visible yet. You sense that something needs to change, but you don't know what or how. This is where many people panic. They mistake restlessness for failure. They think something is wrong with them. They worry they're becoming ungrateful, unstable, or lost. But in reality, this discomfort is a sacred threshold. Before any true awakening, there is a moment when the old life stops fitting. But the new one hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Your soul is gently pulling you away from autopilot living. It wants you to question. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Who am I trying to please? What am I afraid to let go of? This is not about burning your life down overnight. It's about becoming honest with yourself. So what should you do when this restlessness appears? First, don't run from it. Instead of numbing it, listen to it. Sit with it in silence. Write down what feels heavy. Notice when it becomes stronger and what triggers it. Second, slow down your reactions. Awakening doesn't require impulsive decisions. It requires awareness. And finally, trust that this feeling has purpose. Restlessness is often the first whisper before a major inner shift. It's the soul saying, "There is more for you than this." If you're feeling this right now, you're not behind. You're not broken. You're early. And this is only the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore the second sign. A sudden emotional sensitivity that catches many people off guard, and what it truly means for your awakening. Part 2. The second sign. Heightened emotional sensitivity. As your soul continues to awaken, another powerful sign often appears. A sudden increase in emotional sensitivity. You may find yourself feeling things more deeply than before. Moments that once passed unnoticed now stir strong emotions. A song, a memory, a simple conversation can unexpectedly bring tears to your eyes. You're not becoming weak. You're becoming open. During this stage of awakening, the emotional walls you once relied on for protection begin to soften. Your soul no longer wants to remain numb or disconnected. It wants to feel fully. This can be confusing, especially if you were always the strong one, the logical one, the one who kept emotions under control. Now, emotions seem to arrive without warning, and sometimes without clear explanation. You might notice greater empathy for others' pain, a stronger emotional reaction to injustice or cruelty, a deeper sensitivity to tone, energy, and unspoken feelings, sudden waves of sadness or joy that feel overwhelming. This sensitivity is not random. It's your inner awareness expanding. As your consciousness awakens, your emotional system becomes more refined. You begin to sense subtleties you once ignored, both within yourself and in others. But here's where many people misunderstand what's happening. They assume something is wrong. They think they're losing control. They try to suppress their emotions or judge themselves for feeling too much. In truth, this phase is teaching you emotional honesty. You are no longer able to lie to yourself about how situations truly affect you. You can't pretend to be okay when you're not. Your soul is asking for authenticity. This can make certain relationships feel uncomfortable. You may become more aware of emotional imbalance, unspoken resentment, or lack of mutual understanding. Connections that once felt acceptable may now feel draining or misaligned. And that awareness can be painful. But it is also liberating. So what should you do when emotional sensitivity increases? First, allow yourself to feel without judgment. Emotions are messages, not weaknesses. Each feeling carries information about what aligns with you and what doesn't. Second, create emotional boundaries. Heightened sensitivity means you absorb more energy from your environment. Be mindful of who and what you allow into your emotional space. Third, express what you feel. Through writing, movement, art, or honest conversation. Unexpressed emotion becomes inner tension. This stage of awakening is about learning to honor your inner world instead of suppressing it. Sensitivity is not something to overcome. It is something to understand. And when you learn to listen to your emotions rather than fight them, they become guides instead of burdens. In the next part, we'll explore the third sign. A growing sense of disconnection from old relationships and environments, and why this happens during soul awakening. Part 3. The third sign. Feeling disconnected from old relationships and environments. As your awakening deepens, you may begin to notice something subtle, and sometimes painful. You feel out of place in environments where you once felt comfortable. Conversations that used to flow now feel forced. People you've known for years suddenly feel distant, even when nothing obvious has changed. This sense of disconnection can be confusing and even frightening. You may ask yourself, why don't I feel like I belong here anymore? Why do these relationships feel draining instead of supportive? Why do I feel lonely even when I'm not alone? This is not rejection, and it's not failure. It's realignment. During a soul awakening, your inner frequency begins to shift. Your values evolve. Your awareness expands. And naturally, the external world no longer resonates in the same way. This doesn't mean the people around you are wrong or bad. It simply means you are no longer vibrating at the same emotional and spiritual level you once did. Many awakenings involve a period of social and emotional shedding. Old dynamics based on obligation, survival, or unconscious patterns begin to feel heavy. You become more sensitive to superficial conversations, emotional manipulation, or relationships that lack mutual growth. And because your awareness has sharpened, you can no longer ignore these misalignments. This stage often brings guilt. You may feel selfish for wanting distance. You may worry about hurting others or being misunderstood. You may try to force yourself to stay the same, to fit back into old roles. But your soul is no longer interested in shrinking to maintain comfort. It is asking you to be honest about where you feel alive and where you don't. This disconnection also applies to places. You may feel restless in cities, jobs, or routines that once felt secure. The physical spaces around you may begin to feel energetically loud or heavy. Your nervous system craves simplicity, authenticity, and peace. This doesn't mean you must cut everyone off or make drastic changes overnight. Awakening is not about destruction. It's about conscious separation. So what should you do when this sense of disconnection appears? First, don't shame yourself for changing. Growth naturally creates distance from what no longer aligns. Second, observe before acting. Not every relationship needs to end. Some simply need new boundaries. Third, allow space for solitude. Periods of aloneness during awakening are not punishments. They are incubators for clarity. Loneliness in this phase is often temporary, even if it feels intense. It creates room for deeper connections to eventually enter your life. Connections that reflect who you are becoming, not who you were. This sign can feel isolating, but it carries a powerful truth. You are no longer meant to belong everywhere. You are meant to belong where you are seen, understood, and aligned. In the next part, we'll explore the fourth sign. A collapse of old beliefs and a deep questioning of everything you once accepted as truth. Part 4, the fourth sign. Old beliefs begin to collapse. At a certain point in the awakening process, something profound happens. The ideas, beliefs, and explanations you once relied on to understand the world no longer satisfy you. What once felt certain now feels questionable. What you once accepted without hesitation now invites doubt. You may begin to question beliefs you inherited from family or culture. Religious or spiritual teachings you once followed blindly. Social rules about success, happiness, or identity. Even the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. This can feel deeply unsettling. Beliefs are not just thoughts, they are structures that give us a sense of safety and meaning. When they begin to collapse, it can feel like the ground beneath you is shifting. You may feel confused, disoriented, unsure of what to trust anymore. But this collapse is not happening to destroy you. It is happening to liberate you. Awakening requires space for truth. And truth cannot fully enter when the mind is crowded with borrowed ideas and outdated narratives. This phase often brings internal conflict. Part of you wants to hold on to the familiar, the comfort of certainty, tradition, and clear answers. Another part feels pulled toward deeper questions, even if they don't come with immediate solutions. You may notice yourself saying things like, "I'm not sure what I believe anymore. This doesn't resonate the way it used to. Something about this feels incomplete." This is not confusion, it is discernment being born. You are moving from blind acceptance to conscious understanding. During this stage, many people experience a kind of inner emptiness. Old frameworks dissolve, but new ones haven't fully formed yet. This space can feel uncomfortable, but it is sacred. It is the space where your own truth begins to emerge. So what should you do when your beliefs begin to fall apart? First, resist the urge to immediately replace them. Jumping too quickly into new belief systems can recreate the same unconscious patterns. Second, practice curiosity instead of certainty. Ask questions without demanding immediate answers. Third, ground yourself in lived experience. Notice what feels authentic, expansive, and aligned, not just what sounds convincing. This phase teaches humility. It reminds you that growth often requires unlearning. And while it can feel lonely to question what others accept without thought, this stage marks a major shift. You are no longer outsourcing your understanding of life. You are beginning to think, feel, and sense for yourself. In the next part, we'll explore the fifth sign. A strong pull toward solitude, silence, and inner reflection, and why this is essential during awakening. Part 5, the fifth sign. A strong pull toward solitude and silence. As your awakening continues, you may notice a growing desire to withdraw from noise. Not just external noise, but inner noise as well. You may feel less interested in constant stimulation, small talk, or crowded environments. Social media, endless conversations, and busy schedules may suddenly feel overwhelming. Instead, you crave quiet. Moments alone begin to feel nourishing rather than lonely. Silence feels comforting instead of empty. You may find yourself needing time away from others just to feel balanced again. This is not isolation. It is integration. During awakening, your inner world is processing deep changes. Solitude creates the space your soul needs to reorganize, release, and recalibrate. In silence, you can finally hear yourself. This phase can be misunderstood by others. People may think you're becoming distant, antisocial, or disconnected. You might even question yourself, wondering if something is wrong. But your nervous system is asking for rest from constant external input. When awareness expands, sensitivity increases. And with that sensitivity comes the need for intentional stillness. Many ancient spiritual traditions recognized this truth. Periods of retreat, silence, and contemplation were not escapes. They were gateways to clarity. In modern life, we rarely honor this need. We are taught to stay busy, connected, and productive at all times. Awakening challenges that conditioning. You may begin to notice a desire to spend more time in nature, a pull toward meditation, journaling, or reflective practices. Less tolerance for chaos, drama, or overstimulation. A deeper appreciation for simple moments. This pull toward solitude is your soul's way of digesting transformation. So what should you do when this desire appears? First, honor it without guilt. You don't owe constant access to anyone. Second, use solitude intentionally. This is not about distraction or avoidance, but presence. Third, balance withdrawal with connection. Solitude should restore you, not isolate you indefinitely. This phase teaches you to become comfortable with your own company, to listen inward instead of seeking constant validation from the outside. And as you learn to sit with yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to trust your inner voice. In the next part, we'll explore the sixth sign, strange physical sensations and heightened bodily awareness, and why awakening often manifests in the body before the mind fully understands it. Part 6. The sixth sign. Unexplained physical sensations and heightened body awareness. As your soul awakening deepens, the transformation doesn't stay only in your thoughts or emotions. It often moves into the body. You may begin to notice physical sensations that seem unusual or difficult to explain. Tightness in the chest, pressure in the head, sudden waves of heat or chills, changes in sleep patterns or energy levels. At first, these sensations can be alarming. You may wonder if something is wrong with you. You may seek logical explanations, medical reassurance, or try to push the sensations away. And while it's always important to care for your physical health, many people going through awakening report heightened bodily awareness rather than illness. Your body is not betraying you. It is communicating. For most of your life, your nervous system has adapted to survival mode. Stress, routine, emotional suppression. As awareness expands, these stored tensions begin to surface. The body releases what the mind is no longer willing to carry. You may feel more sensitive to noise, light, or crowded spaces, certain foods or substances, emotional stress that once felt manageable, environmental energy and atmospheres. This sensitivity can feel exhausting, but it carries wisdom. Your body is recalibrating to a new level of awareness. You may also notice moments of deep presence, feeling more inside your body than before. Your breathing changes. Your posture shifts. You become aware of subtle sensations that were once ignored. This is grounding. Awakening is not about escaping the body. It is about inhabiting it fully. So what should you do when physical sensations increase? First, listen without panic. Your body speaks through sensation, not words. Second, support your nervous system. Rest, hydration, gentle movement, and time in nature become essential. Third, slow down. Your body will not integrate transformation at the speed of your expectations. This phase teaches embodiment. It reminds you that awakening is not an abstract concept. It is a lived experience. And as you learn to respect your body's signals instead of overriding them, You create harmony between mind, body, and soul. In the next part, we'll explore the seventh sign. A sudden shift in priorities and values, where what once mattered deeply begins to lose importance. Part 7, the seventh sign. A sudden shift in priorities and values. As your awakening matures, something quietly but powerfully rearranges itself within you. The things you once chased, status, approval, money, productivity, external success, begin to lose their emotional grip. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once motivated you now feels hollow. This shift can be confusing, especially in a world that constantly tells you what should matter. You may notice that you care less about impressing others, less about fitting into expectations, less about competing or proving your worth. Instead, you begin to value peace over pressure, meaning over recognition, depth over accumulation, alignment over ambition. This does not mean you stop caring about your life or responsibilities. It means your definition of success changes. During awakening, your inner compass recalibrates. You are no longer driven primarily by fear of failure, rejection, or falling behind. You are guided more by integrity and inner resonance. This shift can create tension. You may feel disconnected from old goals that once structured your identity. You may question career paths, lifestyles, or long-term plans. Others may not understand why you're changing or slowing down. And part of you may worry. Am I losing my drive? Am I becoming too detached? Will this cost me my future? But what's really happening is not loss. It's refinement. Your soul is no longer satisfied with surface-level achievements. It wants your energy invested in what feels true, sustainable, and meaningful. This stage often brings clarity about where your time and attention are being wasted. You become more selective, more intentional. You may feel drawn toward work that aligns with your values, toward relationships that feel mutual and conscious, toward choices that support your well-being rather than drain it. So what should you do when your priorities begin to shift? First, don't rush to explain yourself. Not everyone needs to understand your inner evolution. Second, review your commitments honestly. Ask yourself what truly deserves your energy now. Third, allow your goals to evolve. You are not abandoning ambition. You are aligning it. This stage marks a turning point. You stop living according to inherited values. You begin living according to chosen ones. In the next part, we'll explore the eighth sign. A deep sense of inner knowing and trust in your intuition, even when logic can't fully explain your choices. Part 8, the eighth sign. A deep inner knowing and strengthened intuition. As you move closer to the core of your awakening, something subtle but undeniable begins to take shape within you. A quiet inner knowing. You may find yourself making decisions without needing excessive reassurance or external validation. You don't always have logical explanations, yet you feel a deep sense of certainty about what feels right and what doesn't. This is intuition coming back online. For many people, intuition was buried under years of conditioning, fear, and external authority. But as layers of illusion fall away, this inner guidance system becomes clearer and stronger. You begin to trust your first impressions. You sense when something is aligned and when it isn't, almost instantly. Your body reacts before your mind can rationalize. This inner knowing doesn't shout, doesn't argue, simply is. You may notice a stronger gut feeling when meeting new people, clear signals about when to say yes or no, an immediate sense of discomfort or ease in certain situations. Less need to overanalyze every decision. This doesn't mean you abandon logic. It means logic and intuition begin to work together. During awakening, intuition becomes a compass, not to control your life but to guide it. This can feel empowering but also intimidating. Trusting your inner knowing often means trusting yourself in ways you never have before. It may lead you away from familiar paths. It may ask you to walk forward without guarantees. And that can trigger fear. But intuition is not reckless. It is deeply connected to your lived experience, emotional intelligence, and subconscious wisdom. So what should you do when your intuition strengthens? First, Practice listening without immediately doubting. Notice the feeling before the story your mind creates around it. Second, act on small intuitive nudges. Trust grows through experience, not perfection. Third, stay grounded. True intuition is calm and steady, not urgent or dramatic. This stage marks a powerful shift. You stop searching outside yourself for constant direction. You begin to trust your inner compass. And when intuition becomes a trusted guide, life starts to feel less forced and more aligned. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. What all these signs mean, why they're appearing before 2026, and how to move forward with clarity and purpose. Conclusion. What this awakening is asking of you. If you recognized yourself in several of these signs, take a moment to breathe. You are not imagining this. You are not broken. And you are certainly not alone. What you are experiencing is not random. It is a process of inner awakening that many souls are moving through as we approach 2026. A shift that isn't about predicting the future, but about preparing inwardly for a more conscious way of living. Restlessness, emotional sensitivity, disconnection from old relationships, the collapse of outdated beliefs, the pull toward solitude, changes in the body, a shift in values, and a deep trust in your intuition. These are not problems to fix. They are signals of growth. This awakening is asking you to slow down, to listen more deeply, to live with intention instead of autopilot. It is not asking you to become someone else. It is asking you to return to who you truly are. The most important thing to remember is this. Awakening is not about perfection or constant clarity. It is about honesty, awareness, and alignment. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to rush or force transformation. Each step unfolds when you are ready. What matters is how you respond. Will you resist the call? Or gently lean into it? Will you numb the discomfort? Or listen to what it's teaching you? Will you continue living by old patterns? Or choose a more conscious path forward? If this video resonated with you, take it as confirmation. Your soul is guiding you, even when the path feels uncertain. Stay curious, stay grounded, stay connected to your inner truth. And remember, the awakening you're experiencing is not the end of who you were. It is the beginning of who you are becoming. If you found value in this message, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe for more content that supports conscious growth and inner clarity. Thank you for being here, and trust the journey ahead. Sparkles.